Single Simulcast is about a lot of things. This podcast may make you laugh, cry, or pound your fists into your desk. If you hear something you like or something you don't, leave a voicemail at 916-572-9016 or email us at singlesimulcast@gmail.com.
1. Single Simulcast.
Single Simulcast episode 290. As always, Shantae, the wonderful Shantae, is in the building. We are joined today by two brilliant minds. I think that's the best way to put it. Usually I say illustrious guests, but these are also just brilliant minds, like people who saw a need and completely filled that need. One voice you've heard on the show before, so we'll go ahead and we'll start with her. Miss Charlotte Banks. Charlotte, how are you doing today? Tell them something about yourself. Tell them something about your business. The floor is yours.
Hi, y'all. This is Charlotte Banks. Oh, yeah, I guess you don't need to know my last name, but if you come to my business, Banks of Commune, you will find out my last name anyway. I'm an esthetician. I've been one for 16 years, and I'm a California native. Lived in Oakland. I went to college in Atlanta, and I'm living in Carmichael now, where Banks of Commune is located. It's a skincare studio. It's also a space where I create skincare products for sensitive skin, for reactive skin, for skin that scars really easily, essentially for melanin-rich skin. I'm making a product that centers Black women's skin. And in my experience, when you center Black women's skin, then all skin gets taken care of better.
True. I mean, I'm just guessing. I can't really. I said true, and then I was like, wait. And then I thought about the fact that everything that my mama uses, I use it with reckless abandon, and it works. So does that count? Like, mom had the cocoa butter, so I started using the cocoa butter, and mom had the. I don't think this really counts, but she had the Bath and Body Works, the sweet pea, the one that smells really good. And I was like, ooh, that smells good. So I started spraying it on me. And then I went to school and folks was like, why you smell like that? And I was like, because I want to smell like my mama. And then they were like, what do you mean you want to smell like your mama? Why you want to smell like your mom? And I was like, because my mom smells good, nigga. So every other guy smelled like armpits and failure and cologne. And I smell like Japanese cherry blossom and sweet pea. And I'm okay with that even now. I don't regret my decisions at all. As a matter of fact, I got a bottle right here, and I'm ready to just spritz it in the air for those who ain't around no more. Yeah. We're also joined by, actually, this is a real treat. This is dope. Y'all can't see the smile on my face, but I'm uber excited by this. We're joined by Miss Marla Stewart. Miss Stewart, if you're nasty. Mm-hmm. She is the. You know what, Marla? The floor is yours. Tell us something about your businesses. Tell them what you've been up to. The floor is completely yours.
Okay. My name is Marla. I am the owner of Velvet Lips, which is a sexuality education company. And basically I teach sex ed. I teach people how to touch people. I specialize in seduction, communication, and sex skills. And I also run a conference, a sexuality conference called Sex Down South. It's here in Atlanta. I'm also a California native, actually, Charlotte. And but I live here in Atlanta, and I'll be expanding my Velvet Lips business to Fort Lauderdale, which is really exciting. So that's happening in the next few months, as well as I'm putting out some curriculum that will be out soon. And I'm one of the co-founders of the Sexual Liberation Collective, which is a group of folks who do sexuality education all around the country. And I'm also a part of the Sisters of Sexuality, and we're a group of Black women who all do various facets of sexuality education. So yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of what I do, and I do a whole lot more too. I sit on a couple of boards of a couple of nonprofit organizations here in Atlanta, Atlanta Harm Reduction Coalition, as well as Spark Reproductive Justice Now, and I also am a lecturer at Clayton State University, which is about 20 minutes south of downtown Atlanta. So I do all of those things, and I'm surprised I have time to, have a cocktail, but I do. So
I just podcast. It's, for a second, it started sounding like you literally do so many different things to build, to educate people about their sexuality and about how to be comfortable with sex and with the pleasures of sex. And I podcast. So, what type of education does your company provide for individuals? And is it different than what you provide for couples?
No. So, it just depends on who comes to me. So I do, I work with couples as well as individuals. Really, it just depends. I help people either spice up their sex life, if it's, fading, or if there's conflict in their relationship, I help to navigate the conflict. If they want to learn just new, better skills, like a lot of times couples, get into that routine. So I help couples to sort of break out of the routine and do something new and fun and exciting and discover your partner in a whole new way. So, but yeah, I also teach, the sex skills too. So that's pretty important as well for folks who are sort of navigating the sexual landscape and don't quite know what to do, or have been used to doing something and just want to learn something new and different.
So, I'm pausing because I'm trying to think of the best way to word these questions as to not offend our Puritan. I'm fucking with you. So,
wow.
These niggas care. We had a jailery on here a little while ago, and we talked about anal. Fuck that. What are the most common issues that you see with the couples that have come to you, the couples that you've helped?
The common issues that I've seen are, one, usually the guys are watching too much porn. And so they are, navigating their sexuality with porn and forming a relationship with porn rather than to their partners, which can really kill their sex life. I see issues of, low desire versus high desire. Usually one partner wants to have sex more than the other. And there's usually some underlying, issue that's, going on with that. I find, with my couples recently, I feel like there's some mental health issues too, that can really, sort of stagnate, couples, sexual time together. So I work, with people with all of these different things. But those are the most common, things that happen. And usually it's usually with trauma too. Like if a person hasn't handled their trauma, or they don't know how to handle their trauma, then, I can work with them as well.
Well, we have, listeners everywhere, except for, I guess, Idaho, because they're mad at us about what we said about their hero, Rachel Dolezal. I'm okay with that. But so for the folks who are unable to make it out to where you're at in Atlanta, because they're here, and flying out there is super fucking expensive, unless you get a deal. But if you're like me, it's like thousands of dollars. So you got to cart all these kids with you. And first of all, people, I would not take my kids with me to Velvet Lips. I would fly them there and drop them off at the local like museum.
We do. So we do have a healing space. So we do have childcare on request at the Sex Down South conference. So like if you wanted to come for the weekend, we can definitely take care of the kids when, if you want to go in and do workshops and things like that.
Well, that's dope. Because a lot of times I think that those type of, just conferences in general, besides the price that could play into it, who's going to take care of the kids kind of keeps people from coming to these types of things. So that's dope.
Yeah, exactly. And we don't want people to be hindered just because they have kids, we want people to, be able to participate because, parents need this stuff too. And it's not just for people who have the privilege of having childcare. So, we have free childcare, on premise if they need it.
That's dope. Because I see so many people at any conferences just dragging their kids from place to place, and their kids are like they just want to die.
Oh my gosh. I went to a conference just recently and there was like a kid screaming in the workshop and I was just like, seriously? And so, it's one of those things. And they had childcare, but I don't know what happened with the childcare. Maybe they didn't trust the childcare people. I don't know. But whatever it was, I was like, get that kid out of here. Because it's distracting if your kid's a yeller, Exactly. If your kid's a good kid and quiet and, can play some games with the headphones on, then that's perfectly fine. But,
But if your kid is the kid who you're like, you got to excuse Tyler. He just gets worked up so easily, and he's had a long day, and, he didn't get a chance to see Caillou all the way through. And, yeah. Fuck those.
Yeah, right.
Like the parents who are the ones who are going to have an issue, are the ones who are like, this is a good idea, right? Like this is a good to bring. Like you're okay. Like this is a good idea, right? If we bring him with us while he's sitting in the back stomping around, I don't want to go. This is a good idea, right? Like he can get out and run around a little bit. Like he'll play in the aisles and run through seats, right? No. Now, what type of advice would you have for individuals who are, either who are sexually inactive either by choice or they're recovering from a sex-related trauma, but they're, ready to get down with the get down again?
To just really be patient with themselves, sometimes people put a lot of pressure on themselves, like I don't understand why I'm like this or this, and that can just cause you more stress, and that is not good for you. So just to really be patient with yourself, understand that this is a journey and that everything is not going to come as quickly as we want it to. It's not the internet, right? It's not Google. And that really, when we want to make the best of ourselves, those are the things we have to invest time in. And so, yeah, that's what I would just tell them, just to be patient, to be forgiving of yourself, and to enjoy the journey,
Have you ever told anybody that, this is a long road? It's okay if you don't get there immediately, because life is a highway. And I will ride it all night. Wait, no. If you're going now it's in my oh man. And I just, as I'm talking with y'all, I realized just how nasty that song really is, like how sex charged it is, and the fact they put in a Disney movie with no regard.
Well, some things in Disney are made for the adults, It's one of those things. Yeah, Disney knows what they're doing.
Yeah, but 2 cars, that's like anatomically impossible. One of those cars are going to get crushed. Anyhow, Rashani, you're in it So how often, like, how many years has the Sex Down South conference been going on? Is this the first year, or is it been going on for a couple years, or?
Yeah. So we had Sex Down South in 2015. We had it in 2016. Our hotel just went, I don't know what was going on with our hotel situation, but we ended up having to have a smaller event in 2017. So we are returning back to the Hilton this year. So we've had it 2 years so far. 15.
And, so what areas do you cover during the conference? Like, for those folks who are listening, where would they be able to register for the conference? What topics would you be covering in the conference, and how do you go about deciding those topics?
So we cover a whole lot of different things. So we have, the Sex Down South conference, we really cater to marginalized folks. So we center, folks of color, we center women, we center trans and queer folks. We center folks with disabilities. So we really try to get workshops that can cater to all of those people and more, right? And it can be anything. So there's all sorts of, there's sex skill building for sure. We have live demos. So if you want to learn how to do a blowjob, we have a live demo for it.
Wait, what? Wait, hold on. Hold on now. You have a live demonstration of how to actually perform the act. So then nobody has any questions of how to perform the act to the best of their ability.
Right. So people can see it for themselves. Right.
Yeah. Take y'all's kids to fucking childcare before they go to school, and there's a banana with their lunch.
Anyway.
And they're like, guess what I found out?
But there's fun stuff like kissing classes, that you can practice in. But then we also have some really serious stuff, stuff around reproductive justice. We have academic stuff, stuff for providers to help to help clients. We have, anything from how to navigate sexuality and spirituality, especially being in the Bible Belt. Mm-hmm. Thinking about sort of sexual repression, thinking about just identities. We got a couple of workshops in from Asians and sex, and how to, people fetishizing, people in kink, swingers, poly people, all sorts of different kinds of, things. And the way we go about choosing the workshops is that we have a crew. And our crew basically chooses the top 30, and we just kind of go through them, and we are like, hey, these are our 30, and we arrange the schedule around those, and yeah, that's how we choose. Yeah, so it's really just it's a blind voting process. So we don't actually know who is conducting the workshop when we're doing the blind voting process. We only base it on the title, the description, and the goals of the presentation. So it's really anybody can do it if they have a good, if we know that their goals and their intentions are going to be great and to make for a fantastic conference.
Okay. Huh. Now, you are in the Bible Belt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty different down there as far as what they're fighting against and what they're fighting for. And y'all are doing right in the midst of that belt of holiness, the Sex Down South Conference and Velvet Lips. How do they that has to be hard. What's the biggest obstacle that you're facing in the Bible Belt area regarding sexual health, identity, and liberation?
Well, I think it's really the repression and the sexual shame and stigma that people have really kept in their heads, right? A lot of times I tell people, like, I can tell a Jehovah's Witness from a mile away just from the ways that they talk about sex, and because they, grow up with the end of the world type mentality, it really plays a role, a sort of a really, for me, it feels like a very sad role when they are like, wait, I need to discover my sexuality, and my religion hasn't been helpful in doing that. And so I help people sort of navigate those landscapes, I just recently had a Muslim client, she was just kind of like, well, I grew up like this. And I was like, yeah, but the Quran doesn't say that, so it's sort of like things that, like, maybe the church or temple or wherever you worship, sometimes the things that they actually put on people are not actually things that are in, like, the Bible or the Quran or, in their book of spirituality. So I think that's very important, because I've studied, like, all the things. So I know so much about different religions. It's not even funny. Like, I could probably study theology and be an expert, but I just try to help people navigate that world when religion might not be supportive or oppressive, if they're not, in a relationship or whatnot. So it can be tricky. It can be tricky, especially getting out of that shame and stigma and maybe, parental or caregiver pressure.
Mm-hmm. And so obviously this is an adult conference and an adult, is it like it's an adult conference and an adult, it's an adult company, obviously, but do y'all go to, like, schools and do sex education for the teens or anything like that?
I do, like, my Velvet Lips business. I do. I sort of, I've worked with children as young as 9, all the way up for youth groups that go up to age 25. And so I do age appropriate sex ed. And so think about not only sort of the safer sex, abstinence things that we have to do, but also understanding pleasure, orgasm, consent, harassment, hygiene, things that are really sort of necessary as you grow up, and things that you don't learn about as when you're younger, right? You just learn, like, oh, protect yourself, don't get pregnant, do it when you're ready or do it when you're married. The sexual scripts that we're given as children can really sometimes be either harmful or helpful, just depending on what if your parent has a sex positive attitude or not. But I think the most important part, though, and I think why people love the work that I do, is because it is age appropriate, right? So parents don't feel like they don't necessarily if they don't want to talk about it, they can just call me up and be like, you can do it. And I'll be like, I'll be glad to do it,
Such a blessing. Because I'm telling you, I still haven't fully forgiven my mom for that How to Talk About Sex and Growing Up book that had Ramona Quimby's illustrator drawing the pictures. Yeah. Not the best book. Huh?
I said, oh, wow.
Yeah, so when I turned 12, I think, maybe 13, my mom was like, okay, you're 12. That means that you're going to start thinking about sex. And I was like, no, not really. I'm more thinking about, why do people think the Power Rangers are better than Voltron? She was like, don't worry about that. I'm gonna go to the store. You can't come with me. I don't want you to know the section I'm going into. I'm gonna go to the store. I'm gonna be right back. Matter of fact, close your eyes until I get back, so you can't even envision which section I'm going to in this bookstore. Oops, I shouldn't have said it was a bookstore. I meant the butcher. And so she left, and I didn't close my eyes. I cheated. And she came back with this book, and she was like, here. And I was like, what is this? And she was like, here. And I was like asking about sex and growing up. I was like, why can't I just ask y'all about sex? And she was like, here. And the people on the cover look just like Ramona and Beezus. And Ramona's mom and Ramona's dad. And let's just say that they not the best book. Didn't explain what I really wanted to have explained. My parents wouldn't explain what I really wanted to have explained. So, long story short, they tried, they failed, and it's great that you're here. It is awesome. Not that I have questions, but if somebody wrote a question to me and signed it anonymously, I'm just going to put my name on it. Just so you know. So, like, when people partake in your workshops, what do you hope that they take away from it? What do you hope that their respective experiences is when they come to either your workshops or the Sex Down South conference?
My hope for them that they take away that they can be empowered by sex, and not be shamed, not be stigmatized for what they do, because pretty much if you enjoy something, somebody else is going to enjoy that thing too. Also that I feel like for women in particular, just knowing their desires, I think is just one of the most important things. A lot of times we're socialized to be catering to men or other people. And we don't seek out that desire for ourselves, which leads to unhappy relationships. And so what I want women in particular to take away is that, hey, you can be in charge of your life, of your desire, of your sexual desire, and you can get what you want, and you can have as many orgasms as you want as long as the person that you're with is paying attention, right? Mm-hmm. And you know, I really want people to learn more, to learn something new, more different, something about themselves. You know, we are all sometimes, you know, as we get older, our bodies change. Like the things that we might have liked before, we might not like anymore. The things that we didn't like before, we might like now. You know, so just really going back and rediscovering what you could like about, you know, whatever sexual act that, you know, you're curious about or your partner is curious about. So yeah, I think those are probably the sort of the things that I want get people to get out the most, and just the bonding, you know, like really learning from people who are different from them. I think the one advantage that we have for the conference is that we have so many different kinds of people, right? We have just all sorts of different identities, all sorts of races, you know, all sorts of people with various abilities. You know, I think that has been, number one, strategic on our part, just so we learn and are capable of learning things from other people, and that we don't just shelter ourselves into spaces of like, oh, well, I only am familiar with Black folks, so I'm just going to be around Black folks. But really learning from different kinds of people to show like, hey, we have some similarities and we have some differences, and like, what can you take away from that? It's important.
Very, very much so. Where do you draw your inspirations from?
Like me personally, with my work that I do?
Yeah, with the work you do and the endeavors you've undertaken thus far.
Oh, the people. So like my blogs get a lot of inspiration from TED Talks, or just like daily, or just books that I read. I'm like, oh yeah, like I think about it could be something so simple. It could be a TED Talk about whatever. And I'm like, oh, but how can you apply this in a sexual way? You know, like how could you apply this to orgasm? How could you apply this to relationships? How could you apply this to yourself or whatever? So I feel like I have a one-track mind, and but I guess the advantage of it is I'm able to draw in connections from other disciplines and pull them into the sexual world. So I get my inspiration definitely from like TED Talks, but books, the people. Like, what do people want to learn about? If you want to learn about something, I'm willing to learn about it or teach you about it if I don't know about it, you know. I have the knowledge, experience, you know. I've been studying human sexuality, I think, for like, oh my God, like 16, 17 years now, something like that. And so I just have a lot of things in my head that I'm able to deliver off the cuff where, you know, someone doesn't have to take the years that I've spent, you know, conjuring up this information. And it's just sort of easily delivered. So I like seeing the light bulb really go off in people's heads, their brains. I could just see their eyes light up, their minds, you know, rolling and like, oh my God, I never thought of this. And that really makes me happy. So that's where I draw my energy from.
And I know that I forget what their names are, but I know that you helped out a woman and her husband. I think her name was Mama Dot, Mama Papa, Mama.
Oh, Mama D! You're talking about
D.
Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Yeah.
So I was telling Nisha, I was like, Marla has helped out folks that you've seen on TV, and she was like, who? And I was like, I don't watch the shows. I just know that I saw this part where she was on there, and I was like, I know her. And then I was like, I don't know them, but I know her, so this is going to be great. And you were helping them, and it was just so graceful and tender the way that you were talking with them. Like, it was matter of fact, but it was spectacular.
Thank you. I'm so excited. I'm going to be on Netflix. I think, or hopefully it'll come out in a few months. I got asked to be on his show, Killer Mike's show, he's coming out with the Netflix special. So I'm super, super excited about that. I think that should be out in the next, few months. So he basically sort of interviewed me and stuff, and it's super exciting. I'm just kind of like, part of me is like, is it real? Is it going to be real? Like, until I see myself on TV, I guess, you know, that's when I'll know it's real.
I will keep my head up and my ears open for that one.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
What do you consider to be the most common sex-related apprehension as a sexologist?
Like, just for people in general?
I'm sure you've seen and heard many, many things. So, yeah, in general.
I think just trying new things, you know, just trying new things. People, you know, some people can be a little prude, you know, and I think, or people are oh God, I got this email. It was so sad to me. It was this guy. He was like, I don't understand why a woman would ask me to do something sexual and then look at me differently when I give them an answer. And basically, the woman had asked him if she could peg him. And which is, you know, using a strap on with your man. And so she asked him if she could peg him. He was like, okay. And then she just kind of looked at him differently, like, and I was like, oh, she was probably testing you, which is not good, right? Testing you or testing your masculinity or doing some bullshit that like is related to stigma and shame and you know, just something insane. And I was like, you know what? You don't need a woman like that. You need a woman who is going to be open and who's going to be like, if she wants to try something and you're open to try it, then you should try it. Like, there should not be any shame with any kind of sexual behavior that is important to you and your partner. If your partner wants to discover something, I think, you know, we fall victim to judging, and that's perfectly okay, but just know that you might not be sexually compatible with that person. So I think really having those conversations ahead of time, before you get married or before, you know, like before you start thinking seriously about a person, you need to know, like, are they going to be open to whatever it is that you're open to? Mm-hmm. So Yeah. So I was just like, just you need to find someone who's better for you and sexually compatible for you, and who, if someone's trying to test you like that, that's ugly. That's just real ugly to me. So
and especially, in the South where, conversations and some sex related discussions are like still pretty taboo.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that is? Like, despite all the progress made here in sunny California, where it's beautiful outside right now, but I don't know if that's going to last. And everywhere else, and all the numerous movements and stuff that's happened throughout the years, why do you think that the South is still like, we don't care? We ain't fucking with that shit.
So I don't know if it's necessarily that we don't care. I think because of the shame. Because honestly, here has a lot more freaks in California. I guarantee you. There is more swingers clubs, more kink fetish clubs, more freaky folks out here than there is in California. And it's really pretty shocking. And especially because there are more folks of color here, and I think it's just a combination of just like being oppressed as a person of color, as a Black person, being oppressed, maybe as a woman, or being oppressed, whatever your identity is, or being a man who has sex with men, stigmatized. If, there's so much stuff around stigma and shame, instead of like, hey, this is who I am. This is what life is like. And like, I'm happy and I'm authentic and, live my best life. Like, if we all just had that attitude, we wouldn't be feeling shame or stigma around anything that we did or anything we have done in our past.
True. So again, how much does it cost for the conference, and where can people go to get signed up?
Well, they better hurry up and get their discounted tickets. It's $99 right now as a discounted ticket until we make our celebrity announcement. So after our celebrities, get our sex celebrities out, after that, we're going to give them people a few more days, and then we're upping the price to $179, which is our early bird special.
Okay.
That will last for a couple months, and then probably the last few months will be our regular price, which is $229. So it's a really discounted price from the $229. And they can go to Sex Down. We have a temporary website right now, sexdownsouth.atl.com. Our regular sexdownsouth.com is getting revamped at the moment, so that should be done in the next couple weeks. And we're also hopefully going to be live streaming as well. So if you can't make the conference, we want to offer the live streaming platform. So we're super excited about that too.
Awesome.
Yeah. Cool.
Shantae, any questions? Anything? Charlotte, any questions? Anything?
I used to live in Atlanta, so I was just thinking about what you were saying about there are more quote unquote freaks in Atlanta than in here, and it just made me think about one time I was hanging out with some of my gay male friends, and we just happened to be in a leather bar. I'm like, okay, well, hi, and it's yeah, and I had that experience has not happened to me, living in Oakland or San Francisco even. So
yeah, and the Bay has changed so much. It's changed so much. When I went back, I was like, oh, this is not the same Bay as when I was here, when I was living there. So it is. It's very different. There's more sex clubs. There's more sexual groups. There's more. There's just a lot more, which is, like I said, pretty shocking.
I can't take any credit for it.
It's silly.
I'm just. I wish I could make it out there for this. This would be absolutely phenomenal to experience.
You got some time. You got plenty of time to plan for it.
Yeah, but my kids wouldn't make it through daycare. You're like, I'm 16, nigga.
They can stay home by themselves.
All right. They could stay home by themselves in my house. I'm 16, nigga. They be Grandma, can you watch these two right here at the very least? This one, yeah, he's got to come too, but these two definitely, because, yeah, they ain't throwing no... I've seen enough teen movies to know that at the age of 16, that's when nowadays you throw that party that gets my house exploded. Ain't no
wow. You think your kids will throw a party?
I know my kids would throw a party.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because I would have thrown a party. It wouldn't have had to be a big party, but that's how big parties get started. That's how they fool you. That's how they draw you in. We're just going to have, 2 or 3 friends come over, maybe drink some Mountain Dews and play some Fortnite. And then all of a sudden, while you're playing online with your friends, one of them's in my room, one of them's in your brother's room, one's in your room. All of a sudden, you hear one of them whisper on the chat, Hey, we're over here at so-and-so's house, and his parents aren't here. Y'all should come over, and we could hook up and do a whole party in the house with video games. And then all of a sudden, they bring their whole TV over, and they bring friends, and then those friends bring friends, and then somebody brings the marijuana.
The marijuana.
The marijuana, the weed. And all of a sudden, things I just imagine, ever since I saw that movie Project X, I think it was, where the house got literally...
I love Project X. Yeah.
Literally the house blew up. Fuck y'all kids, stay away from my house. What are you doing here? Yeah, nightmares. And you said you love it?
Gosh.
Marla, you love that movie? Like, real talk? Like, all the way through?
I love the it just made me dizzy. It just I was thoroughly entertained by it, but I really love the soundtrack. I think that's what got me. It's like the soundtrack is like the bomb.
That is true.
The soundtrack is like so good.
It's killer. It is. And it makes you really forget. Like, there's movies that I watch now that came out when we were younger. That when I was younger, I was like, those parents are jerks. And now, I'm like, those kids are some motherfucking assholes. Like, oh my God, they don't have to pay for any of this, and their parents, they know how long they work for that, and not the landscaping. Do you know how much it costs to landscape a house in this day and age? Oh, you're dead. You are so dead. But I digress. Like, seriously. I just want to apologize to all the parents that I got drunk and peed on your lawn, knowing that pee will make grass no longer grow there if the pee is noxious enough, and I tried. So, sorry. Like, that thing you had to, the place where you had to put the potted plant on in the middle of just your lawn. Now there's a big potted plant. That's my fault. I apologize. I'm not giving you my real information. I'm not giving you my email address. You're not going to call me. Statute of limitations have passed. I had to go, and your bathroom had already been clogged up by my brother. I said too much. We'll be right back. This is Single Simulcast.
What's up, everybody? This is Classic, CEO and co-founder of the CSPN Network. And when I'm not working on the many podcasts on our network, or just hanging out, I'm listening to Single Simulcast, and so should you.
Hey, this is Marla, owner of Velvet Lips and co-founder of the Sex Down South Conference, and you are listening to Single Simulcast.
Hey, this is Charlotte. Black Lives Matter. Glenda Castile, Life Matters. Single Simulcast is what you're listening to.
This is Ray, a.k.a. Black Show Bob, and you're listening to Single Simulcast.
Hey, this is Sherazar, a.k.a. Shami, a.k.a. Random Ass from the Third Side, also known as Some Call Me Sunshine. As always, this is Single Simulcast.
That was simply sensational. Single Simulcast will surely surface speedily. Bitches.
Who raised
Raised You podcast is a kitchen table conversation between Karen, Jolly Yang, and
Treasure Shields Redmond.
As we explore how culture, family, and intersecting identities pave our way toward liberation, we want to know, who raised you? We're curious and sometimes a bit irritated. Sit down, we have lots to talk about.
Hi, this is your man Jeremy from the Crown and Collars podcast, and you are listening to Single Simulcast with my man Rashani and Shantae Fabulous, your favorite podcaster's favorite podcaster. And I'm your favorite podcaster, so that should be your favorite podcaster, because I'm your fave, and your fave's fave. Check them out on Single Simulcast. And check out Crown and Collars, found wherever you can find great podcasts and the CSPN network.
Hello, this is Stephanie from the Mocha Minutes podcast. On the Mocha Minutes podcast, we like to have fun and we like to talk. We talk about everything and anything. That includes ratchet reality TV, every single one of them housewives. We talk about television shows, we talk about movies, music, and we definitely keep up with today's current events. You know who else likes to have fun just like us? Rayshani and Shantae Fabulous on the Single Simulcast. You can find them wherever you find your podcasts. And that is everywhere because they are everywhere. And while you're looking for Rayshani and Shantae, please come check out the Mocha Minutes podcast. Hope to hear from you soon.
You did something and I heard me.
Something. I don't anymore. Something for the honeys. A little something. Something for the honeys. Yeah.
Guy that likes to... I don't even know the words anymore.
I can't remember the words either, actually. That's what was just happening. I was like, what did he say in that song?
I really don't know any of the words.
Yeah, that was his all you know is,
you know what?
Something for the honeys.
You know what?
Something.
I bet you we play that song as soon as we hear it, we're going to know the words sporadically. I'm the guy that likes to pick you up. That's not it.
In my something trunk.
Put it in your butt.
That should be it. That's a much better line than whatever he came up with.
Dang. Montel Jordan, his one, Something for the Honeys isn't even one of his top 5 songs on Spotify.
You serious?
Wow. Like he has 4 other songs.
Let's get it on tonight. Let's get it on tonight.
Yeah.
I forgot about that song.
Twice.
Wait, this is how you do it? Is on there twice? It's like a remix?
Probably because, you know, if you have a best of album.
Oh, yeah.
How the fuck does he have a best of album?
I don't know. Let's see what's on it.
Kick back. I turn around my baseball cap. I have a 46 on my lap.
Coming right back at you.
Is this something for the Hunters? Yeah, he is. Yes. That's what he did, man. He would sound like he was about to rap and he'd sing Tyrese Styles.
Baby, this is for you and you and
definitely you.
The type of guy who takes time to just kick back, turn around
my baseball cap. I got a 46 ivory.
So let's see. Female worth my while.
I'm so, and I know
that's I hit it and I hit it if she's with it.
I get the 5 to the 6, 7 digits. Call her up on my cellular.
And all the shit that I say.
The fun
will begin when I hit the scissors.
You fucking called that shit. As soon as the fucking song played, it was like, I got it.
Single Simulcast, episode 290. Shantae's in the building, Charlotte's in the building, and Marla's in the building, and I'm just learning, you know, just listening and learning. So, there was a guy who was running from the police, which I completely and totally understand, and I know that 95% of the time it doesn't work because, especially, I mean, the degree of difficulty in running from the police escalates depending on your color. You know what I'm saying? Like white is literally rookie mode. Like, you can run from the police all you want when you're white. It's like being in a game of Grand Theft Auto on 1 star. They will look at you and be like, hey, and you'll be like, I'm running, and they'll be like, that's good. See you at the Starbucks. There's no black people there right now. We took care of that. Asian people are like pro level. Black folks are all-star. So we're here, like 4 stars immediately. We ramp up to 15 stars when the usual level is 5. That's where we're at in our lives as far as running from the police and shot by the police. Like, you can't really run too far when they're shooting at your ankles. So there's a man who was running from the police in Hawaii. And they said fleeing. I love that word. Fleeing from the police. He decided that the best way to get away from the police was to, he decided that while he was running from the police, he was going to jump into the ocean, to get away from the police. The man ran. He was with a group of adults. He ran from the police and he headed towards the ocean where there was a 15 to 20 foot cliff. And so the cops, who realized that was a really bad idea, and they were like, we're not going to shoot you, dog. Remember, rookie mode. We're not going to. You're okay. You're okay. I love Rent. I'm sorry. We're not going to shoot you. You're all right. Stop. Like, let's just talk about this. Nah, dog. I'm out. And so he ran for the cliff, and he was able to break free. Like, he really wanted to jump off this cliff. The cops got him. He broke free. He shook loose. He was like, and he shook loose. And he fled onto a ledge that was 5 to 10 feet below them, which meant that he still had to go another 10 feet to get to the bottom. But then while he was there minding his own business, planning on jumping into the ocean where all his friends were going to see him and be like, whoa, you remember when Joe jumped off that cliff, man? That was crazy. Joe, you crazy, man. You crazy. We call you Joe the cop fleer. Yeah, man, you crazy. Didn't happen because while he was standing on that cliff trying to get his nerve up to jump into the ocean was like, I'll handle that. And a large wave crashed against the cliff and swept his ass into the ocean. And he died.
Oh. Yikes.
Cops are literally calling this one a public accident, and they mean it. Like, this wasn't our fault. We say that a lot, but this one, we're certain of it. Like, act of God right there on the wall. Let me show you what happened. Psych, because I'm not going down there, because waves. Like, I bet he was shocked as shit that wave could jump that high.
Nope.
You'll never get me, copper. And the ocean's like, yeah, but I will. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Ocean was like, get over here.
And the ocean was like, how many people we gotten this year? 11. So, sorry. Ocean's 11. Right? Like,
my queen.
So the officer saw him face down and not moving for an extended period of time before he disappeared from view because a shark probably ate him. And anyone with information about this incident is asked to call the police non-emergency line because it's not an emergency anymore. The ocean is undefeated. Which leads me to my next statement. I don't swim in the ocean. I don't trust it. I can't swim in a thing that doesn't have like 4 walls surrounding it. I get nervous at this place that we have out here called Waterworld. Well, now it's called Raging Water, but we call it Waterworld because it is. It has this thing called Breaker Beach where the waves come in and like huge, not huge waves, but if you're all the way down at the deep end, like these big waves will just come over and wash over your head and it's supposed to push you back towards the shallow end. But if you get hit with enough of those waves, you're going under, and I get worried there. Not to mention the fact that I was there once and somebody had left a sanitary pad in the water, and it floated past me like Jaws. It was like dun, 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 dun. And so I told on the pad, I snitched, and somebody was like, yeah, we get those all the time. And I was like, wait, what? And so I didn't go back in. My kids were in there swimming just fine. Their eyes burned for like the next 5 days. And they got sick because they were drinking the freaking water. I will never forget that. But, yeah, it has to have 4 walls around it. And, I have to be able to get out. And, it can't jump up to touch me. I want to be able to touch it, but it can't touch me. It's kind of like my dog. Long story short. I'm sorry, I can't stop laughing about this dude who thought he was running from the cops just to die. So speaking of water and stuff hitting people, in Greensboro, just a couple days ago, there was a tornado, a huge storm. And shouts out to our friends out there. We're grateful that you're safe. I've never been in a tornado. I figure it's a terrifying experience, and I'm just glad that y'all are okay. Let us know if there's anything we can do as far as the show to help out, any donation or anything like that. If there's a need, let us know. But the tornado was barreling through a Greensboro neighborhood on Sunday night, and a young man on Phillips Avenue helped his sister and nephew stay safe despite being caught up in a video game. Quote, I was sitting at home and I was playing Fortnite, and all of a sudden I hear a bunch of noise. I looked out the window and I started seeing the roof come off the house in front of me. Next door, strong winds blew a family home away to its foundation. Right next door. Like as he looks out the window. Quote, I sat back down because I only have a couple people left in my game, and I was going to try and finish the game.
Oh, wow.
But then, it started getting worse, and I started to see power lines come down, so I told my sister and my nephew to come into the bathroom. However, while seeking shelter in the bathroom, he was still focused on his game. Quote, honestly, I was thinking about the game, but I was hoping everybody was all right around me. And after the storm let up, he said he went outside to check on his neighbors who were all right. He didn't check on the game because the power was out.
Must be a good game.
Oh, the kids played a Fortnite. They love the Fortnite like it's the marijuana.
I can't believe that he was still able to play. Like to make the decision that I'm going to keep going. I'm still going to care about this game as the house next door gets blown away. I mean, because that is the thing that happens. Sometimes when you look at damage and some tornado damage, that there's a house that's, completely leveled, but then there's another house on the same block or right next door that nothing happened to it, and it's built the same, but one house, got taken out and the other house didn't. But I just can't believe that he still had power to still, and for the damage to be that close and still have power and be able to say like, oh, I'm gonna keep playing this game. Oh, I'm still kind of worried about the game. Come in the bathroom.
I'm just gonna look out the door while y'all eye in the tub.
Yeah.
If I bounce the signal off the mirror, I can still see the TV, and there's only 5 of us left. And so, for those of y'all who don't know, Fortnite is a game. It's a battle royale type game where you start off with 100 people on an island in the middle of, guess what, a storm. And there's a circle that you have to stay inside of, like a actual boundary that gets smaller and smaller. And if you're outside of that circle, you get swept away by the storm. So as you're running from the storm, you're also gathering weapons and stuff to kill everybody else on the island. And I guess he was down to like the last couple of people. It's really hard to win that game by yourself. It's a 1 in 100 shot to win. So I can almost understand why he didn't want to leave when there was only a few people left. But dude.
Really? I was like, am I in the game? Is this real?
It's so realistic. I can't handle the graphics. I'm going to run out there and get some of that wood from off of that house, and I'm going to build a fort in this game. Oh, my God, this is so real. He probably had on VR goggles. But I'm glad he's okay. I'm glad his sister and his nephew were okay, because, yeah, that would have been all bad. I would have never stopped laughing. Did that sound as bad as it came out? Because I didn't mean for it to sound bad, that I would have just died laughing at this kid who valued Fortnite over his own life. I mean, I said all that stuff about how it's important, but really it's not. I'm just saying. Like, my parents made me turn off video games so I could get them ice out the ice tray, and you're keeping it on in the middle of a tornado? Dog. Priorities. So, this is a direct quote. I'm going to start off with it, and then we're going to go from there. Quote, "What would happen if I stole some beer?" So, yeah. A man frustrated that he couldn't buy alcohol at 2:30 a.m. on Friday stole 2 cases of Bud Light from a gas station and quickly found out the answer to his question when he received a trip to jail in the back of a patrol car. He was charged with petty theft, 2 counts of battery on a law enforcement officer, and violently resisting arrest. He entered the store Speedway at about 2:30 a.m. on Friday, and he was told that alcohol may be sold between 7 a.m. and 1 a.m. in his city every day but Sunday, when sales don't extend past midnight. The cashier informed him that it was past the restricted time to purchase alcohol, and he asked her what would happen if I stole some beer instead. She advised him that she would call 911. And then she watched as he selected 2 18-packs of Bud Light and exited the store without paying. So, can I get some beer? No, I'm sorry, we're closed. We stopped selling beer like an hour and 30 minutes ago. Huh. Can I get some beer, though? Sir, we stopped selling beer an hour and 30 minutes. I heard that. Can I get some beer? Is what I'm asking you. Like, literally, what you gonna do? What do you mean, what am I gonna do? If I just take 2 packs of beer, what are you gonna do? What's your whole idea after that point? I guess I'm gonna call 911. Prove it. That's how I pictured it in my head. Him like, prove it. What you gonna do? And then she was like, okay, and did it. And he went to jail. And I'm just happy that he asked first. He knew what he was gonna get into, and he chose this willingly. He wanted to go to jail because he wanted to have a beer. Like, sometimes you just gotta say fuck it. I'm gonna drink this on the way to the jail. Can I do that? Is that okay? I made it out of there safely, so this is a checkpoint now, right? Can I drink there? I mean, it's not like I'm gonna get a beer for a while. Can I just have one? All that work, and you're not gonna let me drink one of these? That's rude. Besides, speedways in Florida, they are horrible places to be at because they don't sell Pepsi products. That's the place that my brother ran into like 6 of them, Shantae, trying to find a Pepsi when we went out there on vacation. Right. And they don't sell Pepsi, so I applaud that man for trying to buck the system.
2 cases, huh?
I'm wondering how he got away. Well, I'm wondering why this man didn't get away, unless the cops were just like right there. Obviously the lady, says description of the car, if this man has a car, and, he gets busted that way. Or maybe he was drunk and he was driving slow. So then it was, I'm just imagining that somebody probably could steal something and kind of just, get in their car and drive away. And if they're close enough to some place to stop and not get in, and not have their car be out for the cops to see him, they just took it. It's just, obviously you have to. There would be like, hey, have you seen this person? He's wanted for blah 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 blah. Because he would be on camera. But I'm just wondering how this dude got caught. Like, was he moving slow? Was he on foot?
Did she get the license plate? Like, because you see these gas station windows, and they're pretty much covered with stickers and lotto numbers, and here's how much you can win. And if he had parked like behind anywhere, like behind a pump or anything, she wouldn't have been able to see the license plate number. That's a great question. He was probably already drunk.
Right.
So he was probably going slow as shit. I'm not saying I've driven. You know what? I haven't. I never have, and I never would, because I don't think that that's a good way to live life.
Smart.
Right.
And safe.
Right. Sheesh. A 19-year-old spring breaker caught with beer was arrested after cursing at a deputy and telling him he could say whatever he wants because of free speech. According to a report from the Walton County Sheriff's Office, a deputy observed a large gathering on the beach in front of a condominium complex and approached the kids. The crowd began to disperse, and when the 19-year-old man saw the cop, he turned to the left to try and hide the beer he was holding in his right hand. The deputy asked him how old he was. Now, when you're caught drinking and they ask you how old you are, what do you think the appropriate answer is for that question?
21.
21. Marla, what you got?
Yeah. 21.
Okay. And Charlotte, 21?
Yep, 21.
Okay, because when you're 19, you can easily look 21. That I see the logic in that. This guy, when asked how old he was by the cops, the man said, "I'm fucking 12."
Wow. He might as well have just said old enough to party or something, like a joke or whatever. Like, you're not getting out of this one at that rate.
I'm old enough to know better, but young enough to not care. That's how old I am, officer. As he was being escorted off the beach, he said it again. "I'm fucking 12."
Probably said it just like that.
The man said he added that he has, quote, freedom of speech and can say whatever he wanted. Dispatch advised the deputy that the man was 19 years old and he was arrested for possession of alcohol by a person under the age of 21 because see, he didn't have any identification on him because it's a beach.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a guy wearing shorts, probably no shirt, no pockets on the swim trunks. Could have easily said he was 21. Officer would have been like, "All right, buddy, give me one of those Coronas. We'll do this and then we'll go play some volleyball together." It's what 21-year-olds and up do. But instead, for some reason, like out of all the numbers that you could have chosen in your head, all the numbers that floated past, 36, 29, nah, that's not it. 22, 12. I'm going with that one right there. Are you sure? Click yes if you are certain. I'm fucking 12, officer. Fucking 12. It's not freedom of speech who did that to you. That's a whole level of stupid. That's just bad. Like, if you're gonna lie about drinking, at least round up to the safe number. Don't round down. Who does that? I know we lie about our age sometimes, not me personally, but sometimes people do that. You don't round down in a drinking situation unless you're like 50 and fuck it. Then you can do whatever you want. People are just going to believe you, but because people in Florida, they got that face, that skin that just doesn't take sun well. So they could be 21 and look like they're like 60. And I'm okay with that, But by and large, you never want to say you're 12 while you're holding a beer in your hand. That's just wrong.
Stupid, Spacey.
Right? Like, there's other ways to handle that. Other bad ideas. Amazon has a shirt, or had shirts, and children's clothes overall. They don't have it anymore. I just want to make sure that's known. I don't think they have it. It was removed by them following customer backlash. People got mad. Because there were children's clothing that on the front of it, it said, enjoy cocaine.
A Coca-Cola emblem? What is it?
Yeah, and it was in the same way that Coca-Cola is. So enjoy Coca-Cola. Nah, well, let's take this to the next level. Enjoy cocaine.
It was a kid's shirt.
Mm-hmm.
So enjoy the nose candy, kids. Like, that's messed up.
And a customer discovered the clothes while browsing the website on yesterday and was furious. And she shared the screenshot of one baby bib design.
What?
Baby bib?
Baby bibs and onesies and toddler.
Call CPS.
Now here's where we are. She shared the screenshot on Facebook, on the Amazon UK Facebook page with the caption, admittedly, yes, I was looking for a Libertines t-shirt, but what in the actual hell is this? WTF. Another person, I'm not going to say anything past another person, responded, I'm shocked. Have you emailed them a strongly worded complaint? The products, which were all advertised using images of child models, were later removed from the online marketplace by Amazon. Earlier this year, Amazon was hit up after it emerged that third-party sellers were advertising Chinese fancy dresses with pictures of white children making slant-eyed gestures.
Wow.
Mm-mm-mm.
And before that, they had swastika shirts that they were selling, and Confederate flags that they were selling. And so I've come to realize that Amazon, they really don't care. They just make sure it's a third party who's selling it, and if you get caught, we'll just take you off. But until then, have at it. I'm sure that there's like racist stuff. I bet you right now you can find a rope that's already made into a noose on Amazon. I'm certain of it. I'm just like, I'm not certain of it because slander and libel, but you know, it would be interesting to find out that they have, you know what, Amazon will sue it. Mid-sentence, just get the letter and be like,
Well, I just looked up a hanging noose decal on Amazon.
Mommy, look at this. Mommy, look at this.
I was joking and it's really there. A man broke into a GameStop in Georgia last week at 1:39 in the morning, having decided that the best way to disguise his features would be to, you know, try and cover his face. But what he used to cover his face was the rest of the plastic bag that packs of water bottles come in.
Wow.
Man. Oh, okay. Okay. This is terrible. No! Because, okay, so for one, you know, when those packs of water bottles and everything, that plastic is generally hard to get off. Mm-hmm. So it's like, but so I'm like wondering, did he buy the water bottles with the intention of using the plastic to, you know, commit his robbery? So then he gets the scissors out and he meticulously cuts it so that it doesn't, you know, so he can get, you know, maximize the amount of plastic and use it to, you know, distort his face. Or was he like digging through the trash looking for it because he realizes like, oh man, I was going to use that kind of thing, and you know, but he forgot, and just all these scenarios are going through my head as far as like using the plastic. Plus, like, I wonder if he cut holes in it for the nose, like so he could breathe.
I've tried to open up bottled water plastic packages, and it's really freaking hard. like I got to poke a hole through the top and then kind of just pull bottles out the top till I get what I need. So I'm wondering how he got the cardboard out, because that's hard to do, and just the whole 9 yards. Like, he really, it's so planned out that I think he really thought about this, and it worked. Because he got away. He gained entry to the store by kicking out the bottom glass panel of the front door. They didn't disclose what was taken, but they're appealing to help from locals to identify the suspect.
I wonder why they didn't say what was taken.
Because they don't want anybody. I mean, if they say what was taken, here's my mindset. Any and everybody can buy a bottle of water, a container of water for like $4.99 at Sam's Club. They already are exposing that they got thwarted by just putting this pack of water over the top of this guy's head and running in and running out. They're not going to tell you what else you got to fight with. They're already taking the L. They don't want everybody named Mama coming in there with Dasani hats on and just robbing them blind. Water world do we live in? Like, that would just be crazy. Water world. Like, water world indeed. And the last story of humor is that a game collector went to a market earlier this month and bought some old Nintendo games. And when he got home, he discovered that he had gotten more than he had paid for, because 2 of the cartridges were packed with illegal drugs. The 2 games in question were roller games and golf. And after noticing that the cartridges felt heavier in the hand, he weighed them on digital scales and found out that both games were around 50% heavier than they should have been. He had other copies of both games on hand to compare. So he unscrewed the backs of both games to investigate, opened them up, and found 4 shiny plastic bags. And after opening those, he called the cops.
Man, I would have dumped that down the toilet and wouldn't have called anybody. I'm not, because how you going to know? Like, this person had to have been white. Because there's no way I'm trusting the police thinking that I did not acquire this cocaine knowingly. Like, there's no way that I'm trusting them to think that I just randomly got this. Like, yes, I went to GameStop, I bought some cartridges, they felt heavier, I weighed them, I unscrewed the back, and here's some coke. And oh my god, I can't believe it. Like, there's no way I'm believing that the police will believe that story and I make it out alive.
The reason why I just don't see this as a plausible story is because I'm sure that the person he bought the games from gave him a million hints. Like, hey man, remember back when you used to blow in the cartridge? Remember? Blow in the cartridge. Yeah, twice. You blow in the cartridge twice. Each one of these, you gotta blow real hard. Yeah, it's gotta be pure air. Just blow in the cartridge. Nigga, cocaine! I just don't understand why he missed that. But while poking around his circumstances online, he learned of another copy of golf that a collector had found that was stuffed with $5,000 in bills. I need to buy more Nintendo games. Apparently, they are just stuffed with yayo. And money. And it's a market. I'm going to the flea market. I'm going to Denials next week. I don't want nothing new. Give me that Super Contra. Yeah, I'm a blow in it. I'm a blow in it. Hey, remember that part in the game where you're laying down in the weeds? Yeah, it's like you're laying down and, like, I don't even know, if you weighed it out, it would come out to probably approximately 2 pounds of weeds that you're laying in Contra. Yeah, man. It's trippy. Yeah, this game's going to cost you $600. Oh, I understand why. Because it's a collector's edition. No, nigga, because there's weed in it. Y'all gamers are just so disconnected from everything. I swear to God. Up, up, down, down, left, right, cocaine, weed, and heroin. Is that upfront enough for you? Do I need to drop any more hints for you? I tried everything I could. Remember that level where the snow is just falling? Hella snow. Like 3 grams of snow is just falling in the game. Fucking gamers, like y'all don't get anything I'm talking about. Just go back to Fortnite. And then this one is like the last story. And Shantae, I know. Well, Shantae, what's the status of what's going on in Oklahoma City in regards to the teachers' protests?
The strike is over. It got called last Friday, and kids have been back at school since Monday, and they have added an hour of school until the end of school, May 31st. So each day has an hour added to it until the last day of school, which is May 31st.
Okay. This was a story that came out yesterday. I know that there's other places that are still protesting for higher pay. Other teachers in other states are protesting for higher pay and more funding for public education. Meanwhile, lawmakers and onlookers are debating whether teachers deserve more money. Just want to remind everybody of a quick story with a disclosure. Marla and I go back like 4 flats on a Cadillac. She went to school with me, junior high and high school. There was a teacher at our high school who got into a fist fight with one of the kids. He lost.
Oh.
Jermaine sized him up. Like, I don't know. That's a lose-lose situation if you're fighting a kid. Like, you got to keep that in mind. Like, there's no way I'm going to win this fight. And if I lose this fight, then I really lost this fight. But teachers see some horrible shit, and they deserve more money for the stuff that they bring to the table. Most teachers are the ones who change your kids' lives. Most teachers are the ones who change your life in some way. Whether it's good or bad, I can't say for certain, but I know that a teacher named Mr. Tarala was the reason why I wanted to become a writer in the first place, so shouts out to him. He's probably dead now, but still. But here's the things that people think about teachers. First of all, the teachers work less than other professions.
Mm-hmm.
They tend to think that teachers only work like 6.5 hours because their kids go to school for 6.5 hours, but a teacher in New York City said she regularly works 11 hours a day, and 9 of those are spent at school. More than 3.5 million full-time teachers in the United States are required to work 38.2 hours a week on average, but when taking into account all the other school-related activities that they have to participate in, like we've all been part of a club in school where there was that teacher who was just looking like, I'm just here so I don't get fined. Y'all do whatever you want. How do we have a white teacher as the head of the Black Student Union? Can y'all vote? Can y'all vote? Could be at home, right? Can y'all vote? Damn, crazy. But they have to deal with those after-school activities, extracurricular programs, staff meetings, school conferences, and after all that's said and done, they usually end up working about 53.3 hours per week. I work about 40. 26 if you count what I do after I get... Never mind, I said too much. You never know who's listening. It might be a boss. I work 68 hours a week. Counting podcasts. No, I work hard on my podcast. The next myth is that teachers have a paid summer vacation. And they don't. Which, when I found that out, it was like, oh, dang, okay, that kind of changes things for me. Teachers only get paid for the days they work, which for some teachers is only 187 days a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do that math in your head. I'm just going to pause like Dora the Explorer while you think about the fact that there's 365 days in a year and they get paid for 187. Now that's, of course, also factoring in, weekends. stuff, but still. They said many teachers choose to have a portion of each of their paychecks withheld during the school year so they can continue to receive a paycheck through the summer. And so that means that about 9 months worth of money is spread out amongst 12 months. Several teachers in different states told CNN that they chose to have their pay prorated so they can have a steady stream of income, but they're not getting paid allowance by the pool. They said, I get a paycheck. I don't get extra pay. And so they do stuff like they teach summer school. And they tutor. And they have second jobs.
Or third jobs.
Or fourth. Like, seriously, I've seen some shit now. I'm older. When you see a teacher working in, like Best Buy, overnight stocking, knowing that they have to get up and teach your kid, but you don't want to pay them more money, so then they're arrested to do so, yeah, that's you. Also, with that money that they're giving for working the money that they're giving that equals up to 187 days out of a 365-day period, they have to pay for their classroom supplies out of their own pockets. Teachers on average spent $530 of their own personal money on supplies for their classrooms. And one teacher said that she'd spend every year between $800 and $1,000 on average buying textbooks and classroom materials. Also, teachers don't receive an adequate wage. 17.9% of public school teachers had a job outside of the school system. Another 44.5% took on extracurricular activities within the school system, which messes me up. I wanted to coach the high school team, but I couldn't because a science teacher needed more money and they gave him first pick, and he didn't even know how to run the set. He wasn't even supposed to be there. His plays looked like the annexation of Puerto Rico every single time. It was horrible. He tried to triangulate what their defense was going to do next to kids who were failing his class anyway. It was bad. So, teachers deserve your respect. They deserve more money. I'm glad that this group got the raise that they deserved. I'm hoping that every other group gets the raises that they deserve because, again, you may not ever make it to the NBA, but you're going to remember who helped you get to the point where you were comfortable with reading in front of a group. So, respect teachers. Pay them what they're worth. Charlotte.
Yes.
Hey. We're done. You got any shout-outs?
Hello? Oh. I'm shouting out Riley Joe because she's been talking to me throughout the whole podcast. I want to shout out y'all. I really wanted to thank you for letting me come back on. The last time I was going through some stuff, so I had to cancel at the last minute, and I just felt bad about it the whole time. So I'm glad I got a chance to come back and talk. Just want to shout out my coworkers over at Urban Beauty Salon and Carmichael's, some wonderful black stylists, black nail techs, black braiders, and myself, my business, banksofcommune.com. I have a Groupon that started yesterday.
Awesome.
Come on by and check me out, especially I have reactive skin and and skin that scars and hyperpigmentation, what it's formerly called. And if you're looking for a black esthetician, come on by.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How long did it take for you to get the Groupon process to where you had a Groupon? Like, what was the steps you took in that situation?
Well, it takes like, it took me like 30 minutes, I think, to type it up. It was a lot easier. I've done it before a couple of years ago, and it was different. For skincare, they wanted you to just pick a certain amount of services. Whereas this one, I just made it simple, half price, introductory offer, $150 for $150 worth of services for $75. Took me about 30 minutes to type it all up, but then it does take a month for them to get the campaign started. So it doesn't take very long at all. But it's just that month waiting process is something you have to factor in for sure.
Yeah. Whew. Keep that in mind. I don't have a need for anything, but I'm sure I will have to make a Groupon for something like, I don't know. I really don't. I'm trying to think of something that I would be able to make a Groupon for, and the only thing I could think of is I will stop being such a I won't tell bad jokes for like 30 minutes. I feel like that's the best thing I could come up with. But it will cost
Coupons.
you.
Oh, okay.
It will cost you a lot. Because to suppress these jokes, it takes everything out of me. And Marla has only laughed twice during this whole show, so she would gladly buy the Groupon.
I was on mute, so because I didn't want to my laugh can be a lot for some folks. So
oh nah, laughter is the music that keeps people pressing forward.
True.
Never dodge laughter. Step into it. Happiness should be shared. Marla, go ahead and tell them again where they can find you at. Tell them about your give them the information for the conference, for the website. Again, the floor is yours.
Yes. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying shout outs. I forgot to say that part. Go ahead and give them your shout outs. Yeah, that's
okay. I shout out to my mama. No, my website is velvetlipsllc.com. You can find the workshops there. Like I said, I'll have a curriculum and workbooks to be coming out this spring and summer. And you can find me sexdownsouth.atl.com. Our conference is going to be September 6th through the 8th of this year. It's right after Labor Day weekend. So if you wanted to come to Atlanta for Dragon Con or Black Gay Pride or some other event that's in Cluster Fest in Atlanta that weekend, you can make a week out of it. So there's that. And you can find me on social media at Velvet Lips ATL, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Sex Down South ATL on Facebook and Twitter, SDS Con on Instagram. And if you want to just see my personal quirks and how crazy I am, you can find me on social media at the number 1 and then Marla, Marla, Stewart, Stewart. And then if you just have any questions, people can email me, just Marla, Marla, at velvetlipsllc.com. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Feel free to follow me on social media. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah.
You still playing basketball?
I am still playing basketball. There's a league that's going on Wednesdays right now that I was trying to play for. But what ended up happening is that I also do my live streams every first and third Wednesday. So instead of playing basketball, I'm actually on Wednesdays. I'll probably be playing on Sundays again. Mm-hmm. But people can find me and ask me questions. It's a free live stream on the O School platform, which is literally o.school. And I'm every first and third hump day. And I usually have some topics around forming relationships or orgasms or masturbation or whatever it is. And if you just have any general questions, I'm there to answer your questions in the chat. So if you want to get me live, it's 10 p.m. Eastern time. So that's 7 p.m. Pacific. But yeah, I'm available for that as well.
Awesome. All right. Shantae? Thoughts, shout out, things of that nature?
Shout out to Marla and Charlotte for joining us tonight. And shout out to everybody who listens to the show. I hope you learned something. I hope you check out what Marla's offering and what Charlotte is offering. Skin and sex. Take care of yourself.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I just want to thank both of y'all for stopping by. We greatly appreciate your time. We appreciate everything that you've given to the show tonight.
It's done, Mommy.
Almost. And I just want to.
Sorry.
No worries.
It's okay.
Do you not know how many kids I got running through this mother? These niggas be tripping. Like, out of all my kids, I like Riley the best, and she is way better than them. They come in like, Dad, are you still? Oh. Dad. Yes, I'm doing a show. What? Oh. What do you want? Are you still recording? Yes. You see the headphones on, right? I'm still doing this. Can you pause? No, I have people on with me. I need to get back to it. Okay. I was just coming in because Mom, what did you want? She wanted me to tell you that that she's gonna close the door so then no noise comes in. That happened a few months back on another show that I was doing. So I wanna say that Riley is absolutely excellent. She is just fine.
Yeah.
A reminder to all of our listeners, earlier today I read a story about kids at a school on the East Coast who took blades from pencil sharpeners and cut their wrists. They're unsure if there were bullies that were involved in this action, or the reason why this action was happening was because of bullies. But in light of that, and in light of what Marla is offering at Velvet Lips, I just want to remind y'all again that it is so imperative for parents to have an open and honest relationship with their kids, where their kids are able to know that they can come to their parents with any situation that they have, whether it's good or bad, without fear of judgment or repercussions. There may be repercussions, but they shouldn't come from you. I just want to urge you to sit down and really just listen to your kids. Don't talk to your kids. Don't talk at your kids. Just listen to your kids and really hear what situations are going on in their world, and then help if you can. If you can't help, then really just be a sounding board. Because there are times like this where people are going to need you. Your kids are going to need you. And if they don't know if they can trust you, they're not going to come to you. And that's a lost opportunity. And that's sad because we're losing too many kids as it is. Depression is out there. Mental illness is out there. And these kids are scared. So right now, while it's easy to do, talk with your kids, build that relationship at a young age, and just continue to build upon it. Don't stop at a certain point and be like, they know what they need to know. Build that relationship, because they're going to need you. And you're going to wonder why you were the last person to know what they were going through. With that said, we are always here. If y'all need to talk to us, do not walk alone. We're here to listen to y'all. So if you need us, we're available on Facebook, Twitter. Our website is singlesimulcast.com. You can hit us on the DMs. You can hit us in instant messenger, and we'll be right there. You can email us at singlesimulcast@gmail.com, but don't walk alone. Even though it's starting to get sunny outside, there's still times where, you'll just have that feeling where you're low and there's nobody to talk to. We are here for you. This Single Simulcast, episode 290. Again, that is the wonderful, illustrious Shantae. I'm Rashani. And we'll talk to y'all later. Be good. Peace.
This is Single Simulcast. Don't know by now that you slip.